What's up, everybody? It is Hit the Pick, and Hit the Pick is in the house. We're going to take a look at the NFL Conference Championships this weekend with the four of us here today. As always, it's good to have you guys aboard. Anybody watching us live, anybody watching us later, we're doing this early in the week, so everybody has a chance to absorb our wisdom and make those early bets accordingly. And it made a hell of a difference last week. We'll talk about that here in just a minute, but first, let's meet this cast of characters, shall we? In the upper left, as you look at your screen, you'll find the pride of Philadelphia. He likes neither Geno's cheesesteaks. What's the other one, Tom? Geno's Pat's. That's right. Right across the street from each other. He knows the real places to go there. He's a Philly boy. He's ready for this weekend. It's Tom.
Yeah, there are definitely much better places to go than those two. But yeah, my Eagles are in the NFC Championship, so we're excited to get at it. I can't wait.
What's the weather like? What's the weather going to be, buddy?
It should be much better than last weekend. Still going to be cold, but the wind shouldn't be as bad. No snow expected.
Outstanding. All right, and in the bottom left, you'll have to say, I don't even know. I don't know. I know you're a Dodgers fan. Are you a Rams fan too?
So it's kind of funny. So back in the day, I was the Dallas Cowboys training camp was at CLU, which is in Thousand Oaks, California, which is where I reside. Back with Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith.
Are you in porn? Do you do porn, dude? You live in Thousand Oaks? I thought everybody who lived in Thousand Oaks did porn.
Isn't that why he's called the Great White Love Machine?
There we go.
No,
all right.
The porn capital of the world is actually Chatsworth.
That's right.
Yes, 20 miles from
California.
But so I got to be the water boy for a couple of practices for Troy Aikman and Emmett Smith way back in the day. So I grew up a Cowboys fan. But then, the Cowboys were terrible after they won the Super Bowl. So I kind of put the Cowboys on the shelf, which you're allowed to do. I think you're allowed to switch your favorite team as long as, well, number one, you can do it once. You get one do. You get one.
We got rules.
One team on the shelf. You can go to another team, but you can't do it again. You use your one mulligan, right? Number two, the Cowboys were so terrible for so long, and then I got in the sports betting thing. So to be honest with you, I just don't have a football fan. The only team I root for in all of professional sports is the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's other than that, my fandom can sit on the shelf.
Were you a water boy for them too? Just a good H2O.
Yeah, no, the Dallas Cowboys only. But actually, they still train out here. They train in Oxnard, which is about 20 minutes from where I am.
It's time's coming.
Very good. In the upper right-hand corner, you know him, you love him. He's up there in the wilds of Washington, and he roots for no real NFL team. So he has no dog in the fight this weekend. It's Loud Esmond. What's up, Loud?
Well, just looking forward to the big championship games this weekend, and then trying to figure out, all right, I got to get hot on my hockey handicapping, because that's what I'll be focused on for the next couple months until there's spring football. And so that's, I'm going to have to be really focusing on that. So I've actually got a couple of hockey picks up today and trying to start picking that up now.
All right. Good hockey plug here on the football show. Nicely done. And for the record, Loud used his one change. He used to root for the Raiders. Now he roots for the Saints. Apparently it was some sort of blind draw with only terrible teams in the bucket when he drew. So congratulations on that.
It was Derek Carr. I'm a Derek Carr fan. I know there's a lot of haters, but I am. So
it was a blind bucket of terrible quarterbacks. Congratulations.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, and he's coming and going, but we've got him now. He's dialed in. He's lonely there in the sports book. It's the pride of Houston, the home of the eliminated Houston Texans. It's David Delano. What's up, sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Ready to talk about these NFL games. Glad to be here. Finished the college football season really strong, and picking up some steam here in the playoffs too. So looking forward to finishing on a high note.
Excellent. All right. Somebody with better eyes than I, can you guys read the comments? We've got a couple comments already. Read me those comments.
Yeah, we have Nello in the chat and Box of Chocolates, both guys from the Discord. Make sure you go over to the Discord.
That's right. Follow us on Discord. Follow us on various social medias that we haven't been kicked off of yet. So make sure you check that out at hitthepick.com. And of course, I would be remiss if we started the show and I did not mention the great deal over there at hitthepick.com for all of the new subscribers. You get over there, you sign up, automatically you get $100 in what do we call it? Hit the pick bucks. We don't have a clever name for our bucks, but you get store credit, get you some picks. You can check out what we're like, and hopefully become a customer for life. So let's talk a little bit about last weekend. Anything stand out to you guys? I know you were happy, Tom, that we got the Eagles home. I got the Chiefs home. Any surprises? Anybody?
I'll tell you what a surprise was, that all the winning teams got outgained yardage wise.
That's right. It's the first time it's happened since 2006, and all the winning teams had fewer yards than the losing team. So, what does that tell us? That offense doesn't matter,
or don't turn the ball over.
Yeah, that's the other side of that. The 4 winning teams had 0 turnovers. 4 losing teams had 10 turnovers. So don't turn the ball over. Looking at you, Mark Andrews. Good Lord, that was just absolutely brutal. What a way to go out. And I'm guessing that's probably his last game ever. So that'll be quite a legacy.
I also think that it's a testament to the importance of red zone defense.
Okay. Can you give us an example? Can you extrapolate on that?
Well, the teams that play good red zone defense, they force either field goals and something else that's happening a lot more in the NFL now is because teams are going for it on 4th down. A lot of times go for it on 4th down, and sometimes they don't get it. Now you're not talking about not getting 3 points. You're talking about coming up with 0 points in a red zone trip. And I think that's just brutal. And when that happens, I'm just shaking my head going, love analytics, guys, but could you please take the points, especially when I'm on the over?
I know you were lighting up our group chat last week with the with the analytics and going for it on 4th down and then not getting it. It upset you greatly. I remember that.
It drives me nuts when they're in the red zone and it's like, okay, you can take the 3 points, and then they go for it on 4th down and end up with nothing.
Yep, it certainly happens. All right, so let's go. By the way, congratulations to Ohio State. The Ohio State got that last night in the national championship game. And more importantly for everybody in this room, somehow Notre Dame did not get the cover. Notre Dame, they walked in through the back door and then forgot to close it behind them as Ohio.
I don't know. They got by Georgia. That was a nice win for them. They beat the Georgia Bulldogs, and then because as a Notre Dame, fan, and I don't bet Notre Dame games because of that. Just like Sniper West is like, I don't play on the Dodgers because that's my team.
Because it doesn't want to lay 260 every game, but sure.
Yeah, they did get there and they beat the teams. Everybody said, "Oh, you're not getting by Georgia." They got by Georgia. Everybody said, "Hey, you're not getting by Penn State." They got by Penn State. Ohio State was a better team last night.
Okay.
Notre Dame still yet to beat Ohio State since black men have been allowed to play college football.
Not sure the relevance of that comment, but okay.
I'm sure one thing, he was the only one that could say that. So
right.
1936. Hey.
1936? That was the first black person to play for Notre Dame?
No. I'm saying that's the last time. They don't play all the time, but that's Notre Dame's last win over Ohio State was 1936.
Okay. So they're due, is what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying. They were due.
All right. So we got 2 games this week. We have done our best to try to stretch it into an hour, even though there's just 2 games. But let's get on with it, shall we? The early game is going to be up there in Tom's backyard at the Link as the surprising Washington Commanders all take short limo trips over to Philly for that one. The numbers on that game, it's Philadelphia by a 6.5, and 47.5 is the total. Tom, I'm going to kick it off with you, buddy. Give me a homer pick.
Yeah, it will be a homer pick. Washington might have been a surprise this year. Who I'm backing isn't. But, these teams faced off twice this season. Each team won straight up and against the spread at home. Philadelphia is 9-1 straight up at the Link this year. Commanders, on the other hand, are coming into this one on a 7-game winning streak. The biggest thing here for me is the Eagles defense. They were third in the NFL in EPA per play allowed, whereas the Commanders were just set 22nd. You said this line's at 6.5 now?
Yep.
Yeah, so this game opened at -4.5. Look ahead line was actually 6. I guess knee injury made that number 4.5. I expect Jalen Hurts to play here. I do think he's going to have his rushing abilities are going to be limited here. But what I like here is Vic Fangio defense. They've been really, really good. This is going to be the best defense that Washington has faced in the playoffs. I think Philly's going to control possession with the pace, run the ball. We know that Washington has trouble stopping the run. They gave up over 200 yards to Detroit on the ground. Both games of Philly, they also gave up 200 yards. Philadelphia was dominant in the Week 11 win at home. The Week 16 loss, that's when Jalen Hurts got knocked out with the concussion. He didn't play much. Pickett came up. I think the Eagles are the best when they can lean on their rushing attack, wear down the opposing defense. I think we see that here. Eagles win. Eagles cover. I kind of think they're begging you to take Washington with that 6.5 now. If this hits 7, no, I'm going to be really happy.
Yeah, that's the advantage of doing this show on Tuesday where everybody gets to see it. If you want to grab the Eagles, grab it now because it looks like that line is headed in one direction. Now, it could be one of those things where it touches 7 and it's hammered back down. Tom, let me play devil's advocate there for just a minute. I like what you're saying about the Eagles defense. How'd they give up 36 to Washington last time? Kenny Pickett ain't playing safety, buddy.
Yeah, that is correct. And that is a little bit worrisome, but I think they're going to tighten up at home.
Okay. All right. Very good. And they were able to take care of business the first time. That was a time in that last game. They couldn't stop the pass. They absolutely could not stop the pass. They only sacked Jaden Daniels one time for 3 yards. He went 24 for 39 for 255. And how many TDs, Tom? You know?
Who, Jaden Daniels? 5.
5. That's right. 5. So, all right. Very good. Let's move on. Loud, you got no dog in this fight, so there won't be a homer pick. What are you thinking in this one?
Well, I was just reviewing the numbers in AFC, NFC conference games, and there's a lot of blowouts. There's a lot of blowouts in these games. They oftentimes are not close. Now, this one in particular, I do like what I saw from the Commanders last time out. I thought the Lions were, frankly, the best team in the NFL most of the season. Now, the problem for the Lions, their defense got completely compromised. They had guys that they had pulled in off the street. So down the stretch, they couldn't stop anybody. But still, Washington to go into Detroit and beat the Lions like that, that was perhaps, I think, the best performance of any team that I saw last week was the Commanders' performance against the Lions in Detroit. I mean, the outcome of that game, frankly, came as a shock to me. And they were the better team. And Jaden Daniels can play. And the defense has gotten better as the season has gone along. And I know Kenny Pickett was the quarterback in the last game, but they still hung 36 points on Philly. So I'd love to get 7 points in this game and lean Commanders with the points. I'm going to have a premium play on the total, and I am absolutely dialed in on this. And I'm on a good run right now. I'm like 5-1 or 6-2 or something right around there in the playoffs right now. So I've been hot and I've been scoring well on totals. So that's where I lean here is the Commanders look really good, look like they're peaking at the right time. Do I expect them to beat Philadelphia? No. Is there a chance? Well, sure. They just went in and beat the number 1 seed in the NFC at their home. So could it happen? Sure. Do I expect it to? No. Do I think it's going to be closer than people expect? Yes.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm still worried about the Washington rush defense. Detroit was able to average 8.7 yards per carry last week, as Gibbs went for 100 on just 14 carries. Montgomery tossed in 28, and Jamison Williams, of course, with the end around there for 61 yards. Kind of upsets those numbers. But this is a team that hasn't shown the ability to stop the run, and I do worry about Saquon being able to impose his will on this team. Sniper Wes, what do you say?
Well, obviously, as Tom said earlier, these teams split the regular season series. The first game was 26-18 back on November 14th. That was in Philly. The Commies won 36-33 in December, which was just a couple weeks ago. But I mean, the trajectory of the Commanders, they just been scoring a lot of points. I mean, they scored 45 versus Detroit, 23 and 23 versus Tampa and Dallas. But before that, they scored 30 versus Atlanta. They scored 36 versus Philly. They scored 42 versus Tennessee. Granted, Tennessee is terrible, but this team just puts up a lot of points, right? And Jaden Daniels, I got to tell you, super, super impressive. The moment is never too big for him. Nothing phases him. He sees the field very well. He makes a lot of veteran decisions. He does not turn the ball over, at least that much. So including last week, obviously they scored 45 points against the Lions. But, in the 18 games that they have played this season, they are scoring 29 points a game. And that's just a lot of points. And I just think they can keep up with Philly, Philly's going to get their points too. So Cliff Kingsbury, right? He's done wonders with Jaden Daniels. I think that's a lot of the reason for his success. And I think Kingsbury, they were even talking about him maybe being a head coach again and throwing his hat in the ring to be a head coach. But he said, no, you know what? I'm going to stay. I'm going to work with Jaden Daniels because I love this kid. This kid's going to be awesome. So that just kind of goes to show you how the culture of this Washington team is really coming together with Dan Quinn and everyone. So who knows if Jalen Hurts is 100% healthy? Also, there's some questions there. As you alluded to, Scott, about the Commies D, they do need to focus on stopping Saquon, and that's easier said than done, as, obviously Detroit was running all over them. But I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I just think that Washington can keep up with Philly. And the total, obviously, or the side, it's going up and up and up in Washington's favor as far as catching points. So if you're going to give me 6, 6.5, 7 with the Commanders, I just have to take it right now, just based on what I've seen from them as of late. And it's still early, but I'm leaning Commanders at this point.
All right, very good. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, white guy in his 40s who's had a losing record everywhere he's gone. I'm sure he'll be in line for the next head coaching job that he wants. So congratulations.
Oh, by the way, the Saints, just to make it even worse, are literally interviewing, you can't make this up, the Giants offensive coordinator and the Dolphins defensive coordinator.
Outstanding.
I heard McCarthy might interview with the Saints too.
Oh my God.
It just keeps getting better. Well, yes, you should have made your one switch count more, Load.
Yeah.
All right, Delano, I know you got thoughts and feels on this game. Let's hear them.
Yeah, so one thing to answer, when you asked what has stood out to us, there's always a certain amount of when people look at who the public's on, not that it's mattered as much this season, there's always going to be a certain amount of more public love towards favorites than underdogs. So it gets my attention more when the public's on underdogs. And one thing that I would say has stood out to me is if you like the favorites in the NFL playoffs, you need to be getting ahead of the line and betting it early in the week most of the time. If you like the dog, you can wait. But if you like the favorites and you want to wait, you're doing yourself a disservice. We saw it this last week with Kansas City and Houston. I mean, it ended up at 9.5, but there were 7.5s there, there were 8.5s there. While we've already, Tom pointed it out, and then Allowed and West. Yeah, if you like the Commanders, might as well wait and see if you get a 7. I definitely recommend that. And then that Baltimore game with Buffalo. Total 51.5 went to 52.5. what are the odds it would fall on 52?
Mm.
Right, it did. So that's one of those things that looking at this game, Wes made some great points about how the Commanders are scoring. But when I look at this, the Commanders have been scoring points, but most of those have either been at home in good weather conditions or against bad teams. I mean, they played in perfect weather conditions against the Lions. They played in Tampa. You mentioned a game against, the Saints, Dallas, Titans. They're all either home games or against bad teams. Even though the time they beat Philadelphia, they put up 36 points. They won 36-33. But looking at that game, they were down 14 points after the first quarter. The Commanders were down 13 points going into the fourth quarter. And I understand they came back, but Kenny Pickett also played, and that game was also in Washington. Fall behind 13 points going into the fourth quarter in Philadelphia, it's not going to happen. And I don't think we don't know exactly what the weather's going to be like, but it's going to be colder. It seems like the weather conditions are going to be colder than any of those other games that Washington has been putting up points with. This is one of the things with being a handicapper and betting on sports where it takes a little bit of the fun out of it, because the fan in me wants to see the fan in me wants to see the Commanders win. I think it would be a great story. But when I really look at this game, rookie quarterback on the road, I think that the Eagles are the play. And I think with that number, Tom saying, he pointed out, I think they're begging you to take the Commanders. But I think the play for me is the Eagles. If you like it, I would get it now before it does go to 7. But still, it's Philadelphia for me.
I agree. I agree with that. In that first game in Philadelphia, the Eagles won 26-18, but that's kind of misleading because they were actually down 10-6 going into the fourth quarter, and then outscored the Commanders 20-8 to end the game. So this is a Washington team. They've shown they're not afraid. They played the Eagles twice. They've competed both times, had a lead in both games, won one of them, almost won the other one. But I think the slipper is going to is not going to fit. I think the carriage is going to turn into a pumpkin here for the Commanders. I think the Eagles are focused. I think they had their little dip in the midseason. They had some controversy there with Sirianni and whatnot, and I think they've got everything fixed. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take them to cover the 6.5 here as well. So
I do want to say I am a little concerned about Hurts' knee. When he took that sack for safety against the Rams, his mobility was horrible.
Compromised.
Yeah, usually he'd get out of that, get rid of the ball. There was none of that on that play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you take away his mobility, you have taken away a lot. And by the way, special thanks to the Eagles and in particular Jake Elliott, who missed 2 extra points, and the Eagles had a safety and missed covering that number by a half. So thanks very much. That was chef's kiss for that. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about the late game here. This is going to be a rematch of some epic playoff battles that have gone down in the past as the Buffalo Bills travel for the last stop on the Arrowhead Invitational to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs 1.5-point favorites. That's where that number opened, and that's where it has stayed. 47.5 is the total. Although that 1.5 looks like it may be a little juiced, so there could be a little bit of Kansas City money coming in at least early in the week. Tom, I know you'll be celebrating. You'll be knee deep in high quality bourbon by the time this game goes. But you got any thoughts on it?
Actually, Rycape will be getting ready for betting in the bank, so we won't get too rowdy.
Okay, very good.
But yes, I do. Yeah, Chiefs are appearing in their 7th straight AFC Championship. They went 4-2 in the previous 6, including 3 Super Bowl wins. They're trying to be the first team to win in NFL history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. They got their number 1 seed by going 15-2, but one of those losses was to the Bills. The other one was Week 18 to Denver. We're not going to count that one. Bills forced 3 turnovers against the Ravens. I think the narrative here is going to be that the Chiefs struggle to put teams away, while the Bills have been running away from everyone pretty much. These 2 teams know each other well. 3 times in the playoffs over the last 4 seasons. The Bills are 0-3 in those games. I think the Bills are going to be able to move the ball here. Allen is having the best season of his career. Kansas City coordinator Spagnuolo, he loves to bring the pressure. He likes to blitz. Allen ranks top 5 among all qualified QBs against the blitz and third best passer rating against man coverage. Kansas City allowed the 7th most rushing yards to rival quarterbacks in the regular season. So I think if Allen can't find a target in time, he's going to use his legs and escape the pressure. Allen did rush for 55 yards on 12 carries and a touchdown against them in Week 11. Last week, C.J. Stroud, he ran for 6 rushes for 42 yards in the divisional rounds. I think the Bills are going to run the ball. They've been doing it well in the playoffs. They have long, methodical drives. I think they're going to extend the drives here, keep Mahomes on the sidelines, and I actually like the Bills to win this one.
All right, very good. Don't even worry about the points, Tom says. Just take your money line at plus 108 and be happy. Get out of there. Very good. Loud, what say you?
Well, I've got a premium pick on the side here, so going to leave that alone. But
Bills.
I am leaning towards the over here in this game. The Bills score an absolute ton of points. I believe they are the number 2 or number 3 scoring team. I just had that right in front of me, and now, of course, I can't find it. Kansas City hasn't scored a ton of points on the season, Midland, somewhere around 20, 22 points per game. But they turn it on in the playoffs. They're healthier than they have been all season. Buffalo's defense is not great. It's just okay, although they have been getting some pieces back to make them more competitive than they've been. But I see a ton of scoring here. Mahomes, when he needs to, will turn on the Mahomes magic. Allen will put on his cape when he needs to. I think both these quarterbacks are going to drive the scoring, and it's going to clear that number. I think it's, 47.5 right now?
47.5 right now on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's going to go over.
All right, very good. Yeah, I'll tell you, the problem I have with the over in this game is Tom kind of addressed that the Bills do go on long, time-consuming drives, but no one averages more plays per touchdown drive this season than the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is a team that has had, I believe, 4 drives of 18 plays or better this season. They will also go down the field methodically and keep that clock running. By the way, guys, we had turnovers. Mahomes threw interceptions against Buffalo, and that has been the last game the Chiefs had any sort of turnover. So they've been taking very good care of the ball. This is a team that doesn't beat themselves. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and you better bring your A game if you're going to compete. Wes, are they going to bring their A game?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting. I'm looking at the betting splits here in regards to the public. So regarding this game, I follow a couple different syndicates, and keep in mind it's data within the syndicate itself. It does not mean that Caesars is this way. It doesn't mean MGM is this way. But according to the 2 syndicates I follow, so 61% of the public is on Buffalo at one syndicate, and the other syndicate has 73% of the public on Buffalo. So it's not surprising. The Buffalo's getting a lot of love from the public here, which you'd think maybe Kansas City would. Regarding the total, we got 65% at one syndicate on the over, and my other syndicate has 55% on the over. So the public, yes.
Wesley, I saw a note earlier today that about 68% of the betting public is on the Bills plus the 2.
There you go. So I'm actually, unfortunately, I'm going to disagree with Loud here. I like the under, and a couple notes regarding the spread, though, on the side. So obviously Buffalo, they won 30-21 back in Buffalo. That was on November 17th. The Bills were a great covering team this year. They were 12-7 against the number. The Chiefs were not. They were 8-10 versus the Vegas line. KC, they're 9-0 at home, so they do play very well at Arrowhead or Geha or whatever you want to call it. But, the Chiefs, they have a fantastic defense. They only allow 19 points per game all year up until now. The Bills allow 21 points per game. So, it doesn't take a genius to add 21 and 19 together and you get 40 points. Granted, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. It's just collectively, it's all the data spread throughout the year, right? But I do think points are going to be a little harder to come by than most people think. It is the AFC Championship game. By the way, regarding the total, even though the public is on the over, the total has been going down. It opened at 48.5 at DraftKings. It's down to 47.5. So when you get the public on one side, but the line's going the other way, this is what do we call it? Reverse line movement, right? Kind of means the public's on one side, but the sharps are on the other, and respected money, if you will. So I'm leaning the under here. The total's gone under in 6 of Kansas City's last 7 games. It's a trend. Take that for what it's worth, but I like the under here. And like I said, it's still early. I haven't finished my card, and I'm probably going to be doing some props for plays as well because only 2 football games this weekend. But my early leans the under here at 47.5.
By the way, just anecdotally, the AFC NFC Championship games since the 86-87 season are 20-18 in the title game on the over. However, the under in the last more recent is 6-4.
All right, very good. And I can tell you that the total isn't going to be affected by, at least negatively, by the weather. It's going to be a high of 42 during the day, no precipitation whatsoever, and a gentle breeze out of the northwest at 7 miles an hour. So this brought to you by hitthepick.com, weather on the 9s. Mr. Delano, you got to see the Chiefs play the Texans last week. What's your thoughts on this game?
Well, one of my thoughts with this, with what you mentioned, the public looking like they're mostly on the Bills. I think a lot of people are going to want to bet with what they want to see. And outside of Kansas City and the diehard fans, I think a lot of people are just starting to hate the Chiefs.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question about that.
And I try to be objective, but they're going to have to come up with some rule changes. Pat Mahomes is driving me crazy with, if you're going to give yourself up, give yourself up. If you're not going to give yourself up, I should at least be able to touch you with 2 hands and not get a 15-yard penalty. But, as much as the public seems to hate the Chiefs, God seems to love them. And that's what seems to be more important here. And looking at
Are you sure it's God or Satan?
Hey, I don't know. Maybe God's just looking the other way, right? Letting Satan run through the NFL. But you're right. Whoever's got calling the shots right now in football, it seems to be with the Chiefs. And this is another situation where, looking at the Bills, a team that's never won the Super Bowl, but they've been there 4 times, I think it would be a nice story for them to win. Part of me would like to see that happen. But I can't bet on that to happen because we're looking at a Chiefs team that has beat the Bills 3 straight times in the playoffs. Just like last week, a lot of people were on the Baltimore train. Buffalo was undefeated at home. Does that really matter? Well, it did. The Chiefs are undefeated at home when you've got a 1 or 2 point spread. This is pretty much a money line play. You don't have to worry about the points, especially right now if you get ahead of it early. Chiefs are undefeated at home. All the Bills' losses were on the road. Bills had a losing record against playoff teams. They haven't got over that hump yet. As much as I would like to see the Bills win, I can't bet against the Chiefs at home in this team. I can't bet against Satan's team on their home field. I can't bet against Satan's team in hell or whatever. The play for me, I'm trying to say, is Kansas City on the money line.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, I think I caused that.
So you're going to lay the 126 versus the 115 instead of taking the 1.5.
That was Loud's little evil meme that he sent on our group.
Yeah.
In case it's 23-24, which the way the Chiefs play games, wouldn't be surprised. These half points seem to matter a lot in these Kansas City games. So
that's absolutely true. All right, I'm gonna make you a lone wolf, sir, because I'm taking the Chiefs here. I mean, I'm taking the Bills here. I think this is a team that just is too strong offensively for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think Josh Allen is the X factor. I think they can stop Cook. I think they can stop the passing game. But when you've got to have that first down, when it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, you think you've got him hemmed in the pocket. He breaks a tackle, scampers for 8, first down, move the chains. I think that's what the Chiefs are going to have a hard time defending, as so many teams have so far this season in the NFL. And I will say this: if the Bills beat the Chiefs, that's a pretty good fan base. We have a lot of fun back and forth. There's some dickish fan bases looking at you, Cincinnati, but As far as the Bills go, pretty decent people. And I'd like to see them win the Super Bowl. If it's not the Chiefs going for the three-peat, I definitely will be cheering for the Bills. And I think they're going to be ready. I think they're going to be happy not to be playing where it's not 5 degrees and a glaze of ice on the field. And I think they're going to bring their A game and be able to get it done against Kansas City. So.
That kind of sounds like a Loud Esmond move, Scott.
What's that?
You're betting on or against the team that you root for. Kind of like Loud, he bets against the Irish so that if the Irish win, he can be happy. But if they lose, he wins the bet.
I calls them like I sees them, man. I backed the Chiefs last weekend.
Like
I backed the Chiefs last weekend, laying 8.5, and they got there. But this is an entirely different animal, and I do think we're going to see some. I do think we're going to see some points in this. I think the Bills have the Chiefs' number as far as defense goes, enough to keep moving the chains, and I think the Chiefs are going to be able to do the same against this Buffalo defense that has definitely shown some gaps this season as far as defensive effort goes. So there you go. Yes.
One thing I will say, I don't know if it was below 40 degrees or below freezing, but I thought I saw a stat going into the game against Baltimore that Josh Allen was 14-2 when I think the temperature was either below 35 or below 30. Now I'd be 15-2. Are they going to be that happy about this 42-degree weather? It seems like Josh Allen shines in those colder games. This might be a little too warm for him.
That's fair, but I mean, in fairness, that's where Josh Allen plays. I mean, every game after like the second week in September is going to be below freezing in Buffalo. So I don't know if it's the temperature so much as it is the home field conditions. I'd like to know what his road record is when it's cold.
Did he not play in Wyoming?
Yes.
In college?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how freezing it is in Wyoming?
Wyoming boasts the highest elevation of any D1 stadium in college football, by the way.
Yeah, they're playing in freezing weather week 3.
Right.
No kidding.
Yeah, week 3 it's 32.
No kidding. Yeah. So
hey, did we forget the most entertaining part of the show?
What's that?
I think Delano is the lone wolf.
Oh,
I really didn't give him a good opening. I'll take the blame for that. How'd our lone wolves do last week? I know I hit one on Washington. Anybody else hit a lone wolf pick?
Yeah, I had the Bills against the Ravens.
Okay. All right. Very good. So yeah, both lone wolves came in. So whatever that tells you, I like it because I want to see the Chiefs win, but I don't think they will. So if Delano being the lone wolf is the thing that brings out a victory, hail Taylor Swift. I'm ready to see it.
So the question here in my mind, given that Kansas City has sold their soul to Satan, does Kansas City has lived and died by the very close game, the blocked field goal against Denver, field goals that went off the upright, strange calls. The voodoo question is, does the voodoo stay with Kansas City or does it run out? Right, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that really concerns me about backing the Bills is something's probably going to happen to the Chiefs, and we're going to see them in the Super Bowl.
One thing that concerns me too for the Bills, that first game the Bills won against the Chiefs, Travis Kelce it still was fairly close to then. He had 8 receiving yards. That's not going to happen again.
Right.
Mahomes also threw 2 picks. Is he going to turn the ball over twice? Whoever wins the turnover battle is probably going to decide the game.
Yeah, and that was a game where the Chiefs really didn't have a lot of options as far as receiving goes. I think it was D Hop's first game. So you didn't have Worthy as good as he is right now, and we saw that last year with Rashee Rice. As the season went on, that rookie just got better and better as he learned the system and developed the chemistry with Mahomes. Plus, they now have Hollywood Brown healthy again. And just for information, last week was the least amount of time, the fewest amount of plays that DeAndre Hopkins has participated in. So they are moving away from him and concentrating more on Worthy and Hollywood Brown. And what you've seen, and I predicted this, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, as you get more competent receivers, your tight end starts to get open. He doesn't attract that double coverage like he was earlier in the season. So I guarantee you they were doubling Kelce for the vast majority of this game. Matt Milano is one of the best when it comes to covering tight ends. I always like to see when he's hurt, and he's not for this game, but I still think that Kelce will be able to eat. I like his over prop. I'm assuming it's 5.5 receptions. I like that quite a bit. I think Kelce is in line to have another big game. So.
The difficulty I see in trying to slow down the Bills isn't just Josh Allen. It's the fact that he's throwing the ball to whoever's open. He's distributing the ball brilliantly this season. He doesn't have one guy who he's looking for. Gee, who could that have been in the past? And that has freed him up, and he's played better this season. And let's face it, he's the MVP. So it's the MVP going up against the team that has the absolute voodoo going for them. So we'll see. It's going to be a fascinating game to watch. And there will be at least one or two really questionable calls.
Oh, so it'll be an NFL game with.
I wonder who's going to get those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sometime when we have an hour, I'll go through that and tell you why that's stupid, but I'm not going to do it today. So it's just not the way it works. But I know that's not the narrative. That's not what's popular. Then again, a lot of stupid people in America. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? If you want to spend an hour calling me stupid, you don't need to. My wife does it every day.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. So I'm not saying you in particular. I'm just saying there's a large group of people that believe the narrative that the refs have helped the Chiefs.
I'm on your side.
The numbers don't bear that out. That's all I'm saying. So.
I got to be careful being on loud side. I tried to jump on your side, and then I just went on a whole rabbit hole. Of
Exactly.
Satan.
So, yeah. Sorry, it was me flipping you up. It's
Scott looked at me like, what are we talking about again?
What?
We've taken a left turn here, boys, for sure.
By the way, I know a really great exorcist. I may have to just drop a line to him before the game, see what we can do.
It should be a lot of fun. It should be two good games. Let me ask you guys a quick question, and then we'll get out of here. Tom, are the four best teams in the playoffs right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give it to the Commanders.
All right, we'll give that a qualified maybe. Loud, what do you say?
Yeah, I guess they are the four best teams right now. It's hard to argue that they're not, but I do think the Lions just had a brutal series of injuries on their defense. Yeah, and if they were even halfway healthy on defense, I think they win that game.
Okay. You think Ben Johnson's departure had anything to do with that?
No, I just think that they were so decimated on defense that they really just didn't have any answers to slow the Commanders down. And they've had to outscore everybody the last half of the season. And they just ran out. The wrong game.
Pretty sure they had to outscore everybody in the first half of the season, too. I'm just saying.
They weren't as injured on defense during the
that was a good defensive unit to start the season. They were at one point they were top two in defense and offense as far as points allowed, and then they just kept getting.
Hey, remember when the Saints were leading the league in scoring after week 2?
Yes, that was many times indeed, for sure.
Yeah.
Wes, do we have the four best teams going at it?
Well, in the words of Chris Berman, that's why they play the games, right? I mean, I got to say yes, because, you could say the Ravens should be in there and the Lions should be in there, but they had their chance and they lost. So I got to say yes.
Okay, fair
and,
enough.
As a Notre Dame fan, I'm glad to say yes. The top two best teams in college football got to play for the national championship. Congratulations to Ohio State. I love how Notre Dame is set up for the future because I think they have a shot to be in that playoff every year, the way that it is designed.
I'm back to being a Notre Dame hater again.
Yeah, that was a one game.
How long until Marcus Freeman's in the NFL? Maybe one more year at Notre Dame.
I don't know. You should stay put for a while.
Yeah, I was talking about that with someone the other day, and honestly, I can't think of a better coaching position than head coach of Notre Dame. I mean, what's he making? $7.5 to $9 million a year. It's a fantastic program. They get great character kids in there. They have super high academic standards. I mean, I don't know if he has 2 losing seasons in a row, he's still going to be the coach of Notre Dame. If he goes to the NFL and he loses 2 seasons in a row, he's out of a job and he's coaching at Florida International.
Got to start that trip all over again. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, if that's not the best job in the country. It's certainly top 5 for sure. They have a very, very deep alumni base with a lot of money, and they can get the best kids. But the high character and all that, nobody cares. But they can throw money at them. That's what matters these days is the NIL. So I know we don't have Delano on camera. Delano, are you still there? We got you verbally?
I am still here.
Okay.
I think it was all the Satan talk. I'm done with it.
Well, you're down there in Houston. Did you guys get a bunch of snow?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Hey, hell froze over.
It basically did. Yes, it did. I think might have been the most snow since 1960, at least, I believe.
Good Lord.
But not since 1936.
No, not since. And I think the reason because I've been so locked into every Notre Dame, Ohio State game, and every time it seems like they've kind of ended up the same way. And they've grown up. You always would hear it like, well, the Irish won the first 2, and the Ohio State's won the last 6 now, or 7 now. And I look back like, when were those 2 Notre Dame won? And it's like, oh, when my deceased grandfather was in kindergarten.
The height of the Depression. Excellent. Do we have the best 4 teams in the playoffs?
No. I think what someone said, the Lions. I mean, the Lions are one of the 4 best teams, even though they got knocked out and lost. I mean, the Commanders, they're hot. Give them credit for being there, but no, I think the Lions, the Ravens. I think the Lions, the Ravens, probably I would say the Lions and the Ravens are in that mix. Are in that consideration. Ravens lost, but at least the Lions. So no.
And that week 1 and 2 Saints team.
Yes.
I can't argue with you about the Lions. I think if the Lions and Commanders play on a neutral field 10 times, I don't think the Commanders win 5 of them. I think if the Bills and Ravens square off 10 times in a neutral field, I think they each win 5. I think those 2 teams. I think I think Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City are all very, very close right now. The thing I do like about KC is they are peaking at the right time. They don't spend a lot of bullets. They don't spend a lot of energy in the regular season. They know that they're going to be able to clear the Western Conference our Western Division by a lot of games. They don't show much. They don't show a lot of their playbook. And I think that as a Chiefs fan, I think they're going to have some things for Buffalo that Buffalo hasn't seen. But again, I think Josh Allen's going to be the difference maker for me.
So speaking of the AFC West, did any division take a harder face plant in the playoffs than the AFC West?
Holy mackerel! Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the third team in that division is the Raiders. By the way, I understand there's a middle school football coach in Vegas that they're very interested in. So. Nice. That's going to be good to see.
Outstanding. Manuel said that I'm going to be taking the Chiefs, of course. So sorry to disappoint. That's I'd love to see them win. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is a game that Bills will ultimately be victorious in. So,
by the way, Manuel's got to tighten up his handicapping of Scott Steen's picks.
That's right. That's absolutely right. All right, guys. As always, thanks very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Don't forget to stop by hitthepick.com. Don't forget to stop by our YouTube channel if you're not already there. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. Please like this video, share it far and wide. We're going to be doing it each and every week. We'll be back next week. I don't know what we're going to do next week because the next
Major Arena Soccer League.
That's right. I'll be able to give you a report because I'm going to the game this week. Loud hooked me up, and the Steen clan will be invading the Cable Dahmer Arena to watch the Kansas City Comets take on the Chihuahua. What are they?
Savage.
The Savage.
Chihuahua Savage.
That's right. The Chihuahua
Singular.
Savage. So
not Savages.
That's
Savage.
right. There's just one, and he is really, really mean.
So. And by the way, Scott.
Yes.
You got to reach out to me couple days before, so I make sure that they give you the VIP treatment and everything's all set and good for you to go. So
Okay, sweet action. Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that anyway. If we were going to get him at will call or how all that works. So
why don't we do it right here on the show in front of everybody?
let's not do that. So,
Scott,
Yes.
one other thing I want to throw out just for all the viewers so they have all the information.
yes.
I'm pretty sure, as far as Scott's pick for the Chiefs expert, when the Chiefs played the Browns this year, I'm pretty sure that the steamroller was on the Browns against the Chiefs. So just
That's right.
keep that in
I've
context.
I will be the first to admit I have been dreadful at picking the home team. Whatever I choose, whatever I pick them to do, they pretty much do the opposite. The exception was last week when I got him at 8.5, and of course, Ariza ran out of the end zone like he was chasing an underage girl, but so he was able to get that safety, and the Chiefs did not cover the late number, the 9.5. So there you go. Anybody else got anything?
In all seriousness, we should talk some hockey next week because I need.
Well, maybe we'll talk Super Bowl next week, and then the next week we'll talk props because I know a lot of the props won't be out next week.
Yeah,
But we can talk some hockey. I can lead you guys in that discussion and nod knowingly as you talk about it. So yeah, we'll talk maybe some hockey, maybe some NBA, maybe a little college ball, whatever. But we'll be back next week. Are we going to do it? What day are we going to do it on, guys? We're going to do it on Thursday again. Are we back to Thursdays?
doesn't matter to me.
Well, you're the one that flies. You fly more than Richard Branson. So
I am in Oregon next week teaching a law enforcement class for 3 days. Late afternoon, any day but Thursday works for me.
okay, so we'll see you next Thursday on Hit the. No, I'm kidding. So we'll see you probably Wednesday. Probably.
See,
Wednesday.
it's that voodoo right there.
It's that voodoo that you do,
Absolutely,
guys. Thanks for hanging in there. We couldn't quite stretch this to an hour, but we tried our best. So everybody, good luck this weekend with all of your plays. Hope you got some good information here today from us. Again, check out hitthepick.com. We'll all have premium plays on both of these games, and you can check them out with your $100 free credit over there at hitthepick.com. So have a great day. Good luck to everybody. And as always, thanks to Tom, thanks to Loud, thanks to David, and thanks to Sniper West for joining us. I am Scott the Steamroller Steen, and we'll see you next week on Hit the Pick.